going back to the example you gave of Sarah, I think maybe you also referred to the Vestal virgins, which were preparing the temple for specific birth with men, which are also brought up at the same level of spirituality. So they will have, let's say, intercourse, but at the spiritual level, at a different understanding. So it wasn't just a carnal thing with the regular, how do you call it, result of giving birth to a baby. It was something they were nurturing. The whole activity, the whole process to up to that point, it was something they're very aware of, and they're preparing mentally, physically, psychologically for.
Yeah, I really love that you brought this up, because there has been a whole discussion of that femininity, the spirituality and the ecstasy. I think that not many people are aware of what those temples served. It was a place of the ecstatic, and it wasn't sexual the way we know it today. And it really became concrete to me when I went to Egypt last year. I went with a group of other healers, and it was fascinating. And in all of these temples that I went to, you'd see, especially in the old chambers, a lot of, it could look like pornography, right? It's all sexual. But it was something much different. It really wasn't, there was another level that maybe because we're not elevated enough, that the highest act that human beings can do is to create. And that the ability to do that and to be in this ecstatic state happens through, I guess, letting go and unifying with the other. And we've lost a lot of that in our religions. We don't want to talk about that so much. But the real spirituality that you see in those ruins says it all. And I think that Egypt has been misunderstood.
Yes, indeed. And this sexual energy is the one, controlled sexual energy is the one which will fire up our spine, our energy centers, and will end up in the crown. And that will be the most ecstatic moment and giving birth to everything within us. And I think this is what those in the know are fear that most of us can achieve. That means awakening. That means non-subordination, and means no more control over us.
Yeah, when you're talking, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about the energetic and chakra system.
Yes.
Or the Sefirot, which is in Kabbalah. And do you know about the Sefirot?
Yes.
The Kabbalistic tree of life?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's a high level. And I love that level, because it isn't male or female. It's God. It really is. It's energy. It is the importance of balancing all of that. The reason why those Sefirot on the tree of life, that they kind of make triangles, are like that, is because on each side are pillars that are really like this and this. And that's our lives. I mean, we really, you can never be just on that one line. We can aspire to embody every one of those energy centers, but we're always doing this. There's sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's too disciplined. I mean, that's what we're in until we can hit that middle place. I find it fascinating that, and this is just a little thing, but the scroll of a Torah, you have a belt around it and it wears a dress. And what I found out was that those were the last vestments of understanding the priestly system, like the high priest, and they have that in Catholicism, those beautiful robes, velvet robes. But the belt on the tour, I found, well, what was that about? And there in Kabbalah, there's a whole discussion about separating your lower waters and your upper waters. That from the waist down is our animal instinct, which is good. But too much animal, if we live by the animal instinct, we stay in the ego.
Yes.
And the high priest would have to put a belt on because to remind them to keep pulling that energy upward so that it does become divine. And there you realize that you have a choice and that we are animals, but that we have a choice to elevate all the time. And that's the struggle we're in as human beings, right? There's a struggle that many of these base instincts, power, prestige, more money, more gluttony, all of those things have to be have an elevated component. And you can't always be there, but that's why Kundalini, which is also, it reminded me of what you were talking about, breath work, yoga, it's much more than exercise. It's really designed to keep a human being connected to their soul.
Yes.
And that soul has to continually like connect with God and with the God inside us, because it has to grow. We were put on this planet with a divine mission. And if that mission is not accomplished, we come back, right? So just the awakening to that is huge.